All right, what's going on today? We're going to talk about a lot of people's confidence baits. You know, I grew up in Alabama, kind of the heart of bass fishing, and then also the heart of jig fishing. You know, that East Tennessee area, Alabama, Georgia, jigs get thrown a lot year round. It catches some of the biggest fish, you know, wins a lot of tournaments. And I keep it pretty simple on jigs, but I'm gonna kind of go through kind of what makes me change trailers, you know, throughout the course of a year or a day or anything like that. So I'm gonna do swim jigs and I'm gonna do regular flipping jigs, skipping jigs, all that type of stuff. So for me, I keep it pretty simple as far as colors go. This first one that I'm gonna go over, this one I have trimmed the skirt down, I have trimmed the trailer down a good bit, but there's certain properties in trailers that make me want to pick one sometimes over the other. Now, if I'm flipping super shallow water, a lot of times I'll go with kind of a chunk style trailer because I feel like in that shallower water, that little bit of glide that chunk gives that jig, a lot of times catch them a little bit better whenever it's super, super shallow. But if I'm skipping under like deeper boat docks, flipping deeper trees, a lot of times I like to have a bait that's like this Untamed Tackle Ace Jig. You can see it's got a small profile, it's got a bluegill color, relatively. The trailer's green pumpkin with blue flake, but I like to have that small compact profile because a lot of times the bluegill that they're feeding on are, you know, 3.5, 4 inches long. And that's kind of the size I want my jig to be, but I like for it to have that small profile and then the legs that still generate a lot of thump. So another jig that everybody throws a lot, especially in the past few years, has been a swim jig. This exact setup has been one that I've been throwing a ton. I caught like 13 of the 15 bass I weighed in on Lake Seminole in this exact setup. I was throwing a black and blue one then, but this is a Untamed Tackle Apex swim jig, 5/16, and I've also got the cleanup crawl here. I love that kicking action that it has while I'm shaking the rod. The legs are just long enough that whenever I shake it, it will impart some erratic action in the legs, and whenever I'm just reeling it, it has a very, very consistent, good thumping action to it. So caught a lot of fish on this exact setup right here. You know, this is gonna be my trailer style 90% of the time when I'm throwing a swim jig. I want something that's got that consistent kick to it, and then also whenever I shake it, it gives that good action. Sometimes the fish seem to like, especially when it's cold and it slows it down, a chunk style trailer. Obviously I'll match it, I'll throw a white one on that also. I probably throw that 3 or 4% of the time whenever I'm fishing a swim jig. It's very, very rare, but it seems like around wood sometimes when they're really shallow, they like that kind of nothing action, that little quiver that those legs have. But for the most part, I like that really consistent thumping action. And also another one is gonna be a swim bait style trailer. I throw small ones some, I throw big ones some. As far as swim baits go, a 3 inch to a 4 inch is gonna be standard. You can see how that will fit on that swim jig. It'll make it a really small profile, especially whenever you're fishing around a shad spawn with really small shad. So the times when I would want to pick one of these trailers over the other, you can see the willow grass behind me. This stuff is really clumped up and clumpy and sparse. I would rather throw this in that because I'm gonna shake it a lot and I'm gonna work it through those clumps and be really erratic with it. If I've got long, expansive stretches of willow grass that are kind of uniform and clean, a lot of times I'll wanna go to a trailer like this and just burn that jig through there, especially in practice when I'm looking for where those fish are actually sitting in the grass. So if I'm on big, expansive grass flats, I seem to like this one better just because I can be a little bit faster with it, more efficient with it, and I don't have to shake it the whole time. And it's being a little bit smaller profile, I feel like it's gonna generate those bites. So this right here is a 3-inch Mayer from Crust City. It just pairs perfectly on the back of a swim jig that you've got cut down a little bit. So those are kind of the properties of the actual bait that makes me want to pick them for certain situations over the other. So keep it pretty simple. You know, I want to imitate bait fish with a swim jig most of the time. And then I'm looking a lot of times to imitate bluegill or crawfish with the flipping jig and the skipping jig. So kind of want to remember that whenever you're picking which trailer, and then also pick how far you're trying to make those fish come to eat it, and then also how efficiently you can fish the cover that you're trying to fish with it. So